Wonderful. I love a Black Lady sketch show. I have had a blast with season 3, obsessed with everything down to the opening credits of every season, which every season I'm excited for a new set and missing the previous set simultaneously. So my first question for you is just how easy or difficult is it for you to decide this is it? This is the concept for the theme sequence this season?
I mean, easy is relative. I think it's easier for me than someone who doesn't write sketch comedy, but it's not easy. I mean, I think we always have different options, and there are certain things I want to do every season. So like in season 2, we wanted to pay homage to a different world. So in season 1, we always pay homage to a Black sitcom or show in some way, differently each season. So first season, we did a sketch that was a remix of a reboot of 227. In season 2, the opening credits were a tribute to a different world. And in season 3, I can't say, but it's something different, and it's not the opening credits. I'm happy to say that. So, yeah, so I always weigh that very heavily. And when I'm thinking about the opening credits, you know, the first season, I knew I wanted to do the puppets. The second season, I knew I wanted to do different world. And it's funny because you're right. Every time people are like, oh, I love the new one, but I miss the old one. I'm like, people get so attached. I'm like, just let it live. You can go watch that season. It's fine.
It is still there.
If we still have the puppets every season, it's still there. Like if we still have the puppets every season, people are like, God, they don't have anything new. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, that thing will live on forever. You can always go on HBO Max and go watch season 1, and you can see the puppets every day of your life. You can go watch Different World, and this season you can go watch our new open. Yeah, I think there's always something fun and different we want to do. And so I think we'll keep challenging ourselves, because to me, the opening credits are a sketch, right? They're a sketch in and of themselves. So they just happen to have credits over them.
Yeah.
So
and they're there every episode. They live longer.
They live every episode. And they do, I can say that they change every episode again this season. So people should definitely not skip them.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you've confirmed that the interstitials will be revealed, you know, more will be revealed behind the scenes of them this season. So without discussing the content, how early on and how intentional were Easter eggs you dropped the first 2 seasons? How early on did you have a full picture?
From the first sketch. There are things that the first sketch was called The Fog, and it was about women who were ash on a woman's arm. And if you think about that and the bottle of cocoa butter, Palmer's cocoa butter, and then watch season 3, you may see similar themes. So it is intentional. It is absolutely intentional. Everything from the sketches and the Easter eggs in the sketches to the characters to the interstitials, and the interstitials will explain more how and why this cast of characters exist, and what the end of the world is, and how it happened, and who and what, because I want people to start to put those things together. And I want people to start to connect how the world is starting to fold in on itself, for larger reasons that I cannot get into until HBO willing future seasons. But yeah, so it's all intentional from day one. And I didn't tell the team which finale we were going to do until right before we shot it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Mystery everywhere.
So everyone was like, what is it going to be? And what we left with the writer's room with the finale did not end up being what's in the show. So yeah. I always had a couple different versions of what it could be. And I pulled the trigger right before we shot it.
That is awesome. And speaking of like pulling the trigger, metaphorically speaking, obviously, I know that Ashley Nicole tweeted that like the trailer was all ad libs. And I was just wondering how, what is the ratio of this was structured versus this just came out of the genius of someone's mind minutes ago?
Yeah, look, it depends on the sketch, right? Like there are definitely, the trailer's not all ad libs, but that whole run with Dr. Hadassah and Ashley's teacher character is completely ad libbed about the lotion and all of that stuff. And then that whole ad lib run with the women from the Bible, from the Last Supper sketch from last year, that's completely improvised. Actually, her as the security guard Fatima, who comes back from season 1, that's improvised. Actually, apparently the trailer is all improvised. There's like 1 or 2 things that are written jokes, but Yeah, I think this season more than any other, there are so many moments of improv that made it in because it's just so unpredictable and so fun. But that's not to take away from the writing. Our writers are obviously Emmy nominated, stellar writers. I write a lot of the sketches, like, but the sketches
are amazing.
Thank you. The sketches on paper were already fantastic. So the testament is to the writing because we get to take what's already funny and amplify it, So I don't know what the ratio is, but I would say this season you're definitely going to see a ton of improv. But you know what? Our goal is that you don't know which is which. And a lot of times people try to guess and they're wrong. They'll say that had to be improvised. And I'm like, nope. And then they'll say, okay, that was written. And I'm like, no, totally improvised. So I think it's impressive both ways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and on that same note, I have to sit through the actual credits because I want to see the rest of the jokes. How do you decide what gets there? I mean, which is just as important, but how do you decide what's not in the actual sketch?
Oh, it's painful. It's so hard. Like basically whatever doesn't fit with the story. So there's usually what's in the outtakes, like doesn't make sense with the story or just would have belabored the joke, or it's just an alternate joke for a joke that's already in there. And a lot of people will go, oh, you should have put that in the sketch. And I'm like, here's the thing. The joke that was in the sketch is still great. It's just funny to you in the outtakes because you're seeing a bunch of them strung together and you're excited because you didn't see that one, but
every piece is perfection. So it all comes together.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I'm excited that we moved. I thought it was a great idea to move the outtakes up to be side by side with the credits. Cause I think a lot of people don't know that the outtakes were after the credits, after the episodes before. So we didn't want people to miss them. So now they'll make sure not to skip to the next episode. They'll make sure to
which I am thrilled for. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yes.
And now I must abandon you, but thank you for everything that you do. I know it's so sad.
Sorry,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.